Episode 1. Evangeline A.K. McDowell, a vampire that has lived for over 700 years, has lost people she had made friends with. About 2 years ago, she saved a young boy, Toda Konoe, from dying with his parents during an accident. Presently, Toda wishes to leave the village and go to the city with his friends, but his guardian, Evangeline, with the covered name Yukihime, refuses. She says she will only allow him to go if he can defeat her. After a failed attempt, Toda goes to his parents' burial ground. He regrets that he doesn't remember any memory of them. However, as he pays his homage, a man tells him he will be waiting for him at the tower. Toda's friends fight Yukihime using magic, and they get bangles from another colleague, which they ask Toda to give Yukihime. He does so and Yukihime wears it. Toda's friends ambush her, and another teacher, Tachibana, a bounty hunter sent to kill Yukihime, attacks the boy and binds Yukihime. Toda arrives and he jumps to fight Tachibana, but Tachibana cuts his hands off. Seeing her loved one in pain makes Yukihime break the binding bangles, but she is still too weak to defeat Tachibana, who cuts her into pieces. However, she doesn't die. She speaks to Toda on the floor and tells him he is immortal. She tells him that when she met him 2 years ago, she contaminated him with her immortal blood. So he has two choices. Either he should remain human and die with his friends, or switch to his immortal side and destroy Tachibana. He picks the latter option. He licks his blood and goes to attack Tachibana. He wins the fight but collapses. When he wakes, he sees Yukihime by his side, and she tells him that 2 years ago, she accepted his parents' plea to save him, and she gave him his blood. He tells her being immortal is a blessing, but she tells him he will understand soon. Since Evangeline's undercover has been broken, they relocate from that village. He sees the boy asking him to come to the tower again, and they decide to go there. Episode 2. As they walk around, Toda sees a boy having his bath. He touches him and the boy, Kuromaru, gets angry. They reconcile, and Kuromaru tells him he came from the tower, although his family has disowned him until he completes his mission from killing Evangeline. Evangeline arrives, and Kuromaru attacks her immediately, but she stabs him with her hand. Kuromaru is from the immortal hunter clan called Fushigari. However, he heals by himself, and he is also immortal. He challenges Toda to a duel, and Toda says anyone who loses will fulfill the winner's wish. So as they fight, Kuromaru loses. Toda asks him to be his friend and convinces him that since he has been disowned, he should follow them. Kuromaru agrees, and as they continue their journey, a fleet of cars comes to welcome them. And they now to Yukihime, who tell Toda that she has created a team of immortals called the UQ Holders. Episode 3. At the headquarters, Toda meets Karen, one of the members who is jealous of Toda's close relationship with Yukihime. Also, Toda and Kuromaru are to do a test to join the UQ Holders. For their practice, they fight Karen and Gengoro, respectively, but they lose. That day, they meet another girl like a maid, Shinobu, and while helping her, they meet the number 2 UQ holder, Jinbei. The following day, they have their entrance test. Kuromaru wins, but during Toda's fight, he sees some monsters attacking Shinobu, and goes to help her. It's sunset before he finishes, and he fears that he has lost, but Karen says he won. For his special mission, he is asked to defeat all the monsters with Kuromaru. Episode 4. Yukihime gives Karen, Kuromaru, and Toda a mission to safeguard the members of a nearby town. As they get there, Toda trains by the slum, where he meets a man who helps him with his training. However, after the day, it turns out the man is an enemy of the Immortal Hunters. The Immortal Hunters sends an assassin to stop Karen while having her bath. Then they attack Toda at the slum with Kuromaru. They bring along an immortal wolf who incapacitates Toda immediately. Kuromaru also struggles to fight back, but he is weak. He gets wounded by the wolf, and Karen finds it difficult to get past the assassin assigned to her as the assassin stabs her. Episode 5. Kuromaru figures he is on his own as Toda has been held down by a cross. Just as Kuromaru gives up, one of the village kids comes to the assassin to ask them why they are attacking. The assassins say the land isn't the villagers' own, but belongs to some people in the town who have commissioned them. Toda heals himself and stands up. He attacks the wolf again, and the wolf turns into a human. The man he had been training with, Kaido. Kaido stabs Toda with his hands, but Toda's body heals immediately. He keeps fighting until Kaido loses. Yukihime comes. She repairs the town into its usual shape before meeting with the holders and the assassins, who disappear immediately after realizing they have lost. Episode 6. Kuromaru figures he has feelings for Toda. As he looks at him, Karen enters and sees him bathing. She insists he is female, which makes Kuromaru confess that he is a demi-human. And in their clan, they are genderless until they are adults, where they choose a gender. Karen asks him to choose a female before another holder, Iku, arrives. They both advise him to change to female and go out with his love Toda, and he takes this advice. He goes out with Toda to a tower where they talk. As they are there, one of the former enemies attacks them. Toda is captive and Kuromaru isn't strong in his female form. He figures he can't protect Toda as a female. He changes into his male form and saves Toda. After saving him, he decides to remain female. Episode 7. As Toda returns with Kuromaru, Karen calls Kuromaru to ask him about the date feedback, while a UQ holder, Kiri, drags Toda away. As Kiri talks to Toda, Toda's past enemy attacks Kiri and kills her. Kiri asks Toda to hold her hands, and she reverses time. She tells Toda that that's her immortality secret. As they get a second chance at life, they kill the enemy. Kiri tells Toda that a strong enemy is hoping to kill him. The enemy is Fate, and Yukihime has devised a plan to defeat Fate. They travel towards a train station with Kuromaru, Iko, and Karin. As they get there, they set Toda as bait for Fate. As they wait for Fate, Yukihime speaks with Toda to tell him why Fate is after him. She tells Toda that Fate is a former friend of Toda's grandfather, Negi, and Fate changed after Negi died. So Fate wants to kill Toda as an act of revenge. Episode 8. They find Fate and the boys attack him. After a long day of the fight, they eventually trap Fate with their powers and take him into a cover, where Yukihime meets them. As Fate meets Yukihime, he tells her it's been 20 years. He asks the kids to ask questions and says he will answer them. Iku asks why Fate wants to take Toda, and Fate tells him it's because he needs Toda to save his grandfather, Negi. Toda is shocked that Negi is still alive. Toda asks Fate if he was the one who killed his father, and Fate replies affirmatively. At this point, Negi arrives. It turns out he's the person who's always asking Toda to come to the tower, and as Negi speaks to Toda, Yukihime commands Kuromaru to break the communication channel. Episode 9. The headquarters gets 2 visitors, Mizore, determined to natty Toda, and her grandmother. After speaking with Ayaka, Yukihime decides to tell Toda the truth. She meets with Toda, who first asks her if she's in love with Negi. She replies affirmatively but tells him the man he saw isn't Negi. 20 years ago, Negi fought with a monster called Mage of the Beginning. She is an undying who tasks the love of the people who kill her, and she has possessed Negi. Yukihime also reveals that Toda isn't human. Rather, he is a clone of Negi. Episode 10. Following Negi's revelation, he meets Ayaka and Chachamaru, the leader of martial arts. During their conversation, they ask him to fight during the Mahora Arts tournament pre-event. He attends, and his first opponent, a person who calls Negi grandfather too, defeats him. Negi arrives and asks him to follow, but Yukihime, who knows the figure there isn't Negi, jumps in Toda's friend, and Yukihime join in the fight against the Mage of the Beginning. Episode 11. The fight starts against the Mage of the Beginning, Ialda. She takes them to an imaginary world where she fights them and defeats them until Asuna arrives. It turns out Toda is the union of the cloning of Negi and Asuna. Asuna saves them from the imaginary world and takes them to the real world where they go for Ialda. Toda goes to save Negi from Ialda. Episode 12. Asuna has a master plan to defeat Ialda, and she needs the others to stalk Ialda till she perfects her plan. During this period, Ialda keeps wounding the team. Negi, Fate, Yukihime, and Toda's spirit meet, where Fate promises she will save Negi, but Negi says she knows that's not possible. Asuna interferes, and Ialda leaves in defeat. After the fight, Toda and Fate insist they will go out of their way to save Negi. Toda meets with his friends, and they talk about their feelings. He goes to Yukihime's office and proposes to her. She kicks him, and the other females hit him. As he falls off, she tells him he is 500 years late. Thanks for watching our video. If you want us to recap the next season, let us know in the comments section.